Hey facilitators, Meg Bolger here from Facilitator Cards. What you are about to check out is our May Brain Jam on Stream Deck, where we explored how we can use Stream Deck to streamline our virtual facilitations online, no matter what platform or technology we are using. Every month here at Facilitator Cards, we bring together our facilitator community to explore a new tool, technique, or technology that we can use to enhance our virtual facilitation practice. And if you're interested in joining one in the future, please check out the link below. I will leave an RSVP link where you can sign up, and we'll send you emails when the next Brain Jam is announced. There was a slight issue in the recording. So we recorded the Zoom, and unfortunately Zoom recorded a speaker or gallery view instead of speaker view, which makes it a little hard to follow along with the build portion. And so what I did is I recorded an entirely separate build along video, and I will link that for you below if you are having a hard time seeing the exact the windows and the things that we're using during the build portion. So if you want to check out that guided video, please feel free to jump into the description and find that link. Hope you enjoy and learn a lot, and maybe we'll catch you at another Brain Jam. Hey everyone, welcome to the May Brain Jam. I'm Meg Bolger, and I am part of Facilitator Cards and part of the team making this work for today in our Brain Jam. I also have Vivian here, who is a community member of Facilitator Cards and also just a rock star helping me with my Brain Jams. So if at any point you need some extra support, you're just completely lost and you're like, what happened like 5 minutes ago? I had to step out and like, where are we? Just direct message Vivian anytime and she will chime in and help you out there. Brain Jams, if you have not been to one before, welcome. Really excited that you're here. Brain Jams are Facilitator Card community events. So they're really made possible by people purchasing Facilitator Cards and supporting the business and allowing us to do all of this really cool programming. So thank you so much if you are one of those folks. They are the first Wednesday of every month at this time, and we learn a new tool, technique, or technology that's going to help us enhance our facilitation practice. Right now, we are focused on enhancing our virtual facilitation practice, and I'm hoping in the future we will get back to also enhancing our in-person game. I have no idea what that's going to be like going back to it, and I'm a little concerned about my handwriting and my ability to like remember, you know, oh yeah, people come in different heights, and not everybody is just from here to here. But I'm really looking forward to that. So today we are brain jamming on Stream Deck, and a couple of quick norms for you just to get oriented to this space. Feel free to stay unmuted if you would like. I love hearing like laughter or like I like those little cues. If you would like to do that, you're welcome to. Somebody said like unmuted but silent is an okay option. If you have a loud background or you're like, that just gives you anxiety because you like knowing that people can't hear you sneeze, all good to stay muted, but just know that that option's there. When we are doing the build portion of this Brain Jam, I will ask that you put questions in the chat rather than ask them out loud, and or just wait till I say like, does anybody have any questions before we move on, and then say it out loud. That's just a little bit to help me stagger, and also because some folks will end up watching this afterward, and that also helps just like kind of the flow of the build process. And last thing, I want to invite you to let your mind wander with the possibilities of this program. So when I've showed this to people, and we're going to be building it in Stream Deck, like we're going to be doing a little bit of that, assuming that you're using Zoom for a lot of your facilitations. But if you're not, if you're using Gather or you're using Teams or you're using like other programs that I haven't listed, and you're like, oh, I wonder how this could work with those, like, please let your mind wander into those places, and know that like the second half of the Brain Jam will be perfect for you to be exploring that and like diving into those things. I basically just want to help you figure out how to use it so that you can use it with whatever you want to do. Okay, today's flow. We did a little bit of a warm up. We're gonna get to know a little bit more who's in the room. We're gonna do a guided build of Stream Deck. We're gonna if we have time, we'll do a little more free building and some troubleshooting, do some Q&A, and all of that is going to happen in the next 50 minutes. Hour 2, for those who are able to stick around, we are going to do some experimenting, like just like, how can I use this with this program or this program? How can I use this to just like work on my computer better, which is honestly how I use it a lot. And if you are interested in OBS plus Stream Deck, I'm happy to get into the weeds there, or just help you get some initial setup with that in hour 2. So that is that. What we're going to do now is we're going to hop over and interact with AHA slides really briefly, do some live polling, just to help me get to know who's in the room today, and yeah, because I love starting off that way. So in the chat, you are going to see, in the chat, you're going to see a link to AHA slides. And the best way to open up that link is actually to do it on your phone. So if you open up a browser on your phone, type in ahaslides.com/maybrainjam. The caps don't matter. If you don't want to do that and you're like, ooh, I have it set up for the Stream Deck on my phone and I don't want to touch it, you can totally open it in a browser on your computer. That works great as well. And I'm going to go ahead. Okay, cool. About 5 of us have navigated over there already. And when you're there, go ahead and answer that first question. So I'd love you to tell us 3 things about yourself in 6 words or less. So example could be like facilitator, Seattle, Vermonter. Those probably be my 3 words. Like, I'm a facilitator, I live in Seattle, but I'm a like Vermonter at heart. Or it could be like pizza. You know, you all know. Just tell me anything about you, but in 6 words or less. More info, the better. And I'll give you like another 30 seconds to do that, and then we'll see who's here. Let's see if we got some. Okay. Ooh, love it. I teach teachers. Hoosier, facilitator, coffee consumer, trainer, St. Louis, love the virtual world. Oh, this could be a quiz in like 6 months. If you all keep showing up, we could do this again, and I could have you not put your names, and then I could be like, okay, I know skateboarder, tech nerd, that's Kim. Yeah, okay. Ooh, Marnie, I love that how much you fit in 6 words. Portland, cook. Yes, that was one of my words I was thinking as well. Awesome. All right, wonderful. Okay, so we're gonna move to the next question. So if you haven't hit enter, last chance, hit enter. All right, cool. We got East Coasters, we got West Coasters, we got dog lovers. We got someone who is a toddler. No, we got someone with a toddler. All right. Okay, here's my second question. How much time have you spent on Zoom today? Okay, some people. Well done. First Zoom. Okay, most of us are like Zoom fresh, not necessarily computer fresh, but like more Zoom fresh. Okay, some of us are clocking in some more serious hours. And we've got a big spender up here at 5+ hours. Dang, good for you, person who's willing to do it again. Like, sign up again. I hope I make this completely worth your time. Okay, what's a new tool or technology that you've learned in the last year? Just give me one. Most of us have probably had to learn more. And if you're like, I haven't, I also want to know that. If you're like, I knew everything that I've already used in the last year, then like, I want to know that. But yeah, what's a new tool or technology you've learned in the last year? Miro, Gather, Mural, Bookings, Wonder Room. Okay, cool. This is like partially for me to just be like, what is Wonder Room? All right, awesome. Also, one of the reasons I wanted to highlight this is like, we have all learned a lot in the last year. And some of this probably feels like second nature now. And so maybe this will in the future as well. Last question. Oh, second to last question. Okay, second to last question. What are you using today to run Stream Deck? Are you using a Mac and an iPhone, a Mac and an Android? I'm assuming that all of you are not running Stream Deck on a Stream Deck. You're using your phone because that's the easiest way to do it. But I'd love to know, what is your tech setup? Okay. Okay. So I want to, full disclosure in this moment, tell you that I have a Mac and an iPhone. And so that's where I have tested these things the most. I do have a partner who has a PC. And so I've tried everything out on the PC, but if I say something and you're like, that's not a thing, I'm a PC user and I know that, you're just saying that because you're a Mac user. Please know that there is a bias, and I'll do my best to really make it work for everybody. Okay. So here's my last question, and you can't answer this on AHA Slides. This is our transition back to Zoom. I would just love to know what drew folks to the Brain Jam today. And maybe if we could hear from some folks who haven't shared anything out loud yet. So if you didn't answer that initial question, but I'd love to hear it in the chat or out loud, what drew you to saying like, yeah, that Stream Deck thing looked interesting. I'm here to learn. Anybody want to share what hooked you? Libby?
Meg, it was you.
All right.
And I was actually available. So, yeah. And I thought,
Awesome.
well, what the heck? I'll learn something.
What the heck? I'll learn something. Okay, cool. So Libby's coming in fresh and open to anything. All right. I have a Stream Deck. Okay, someone is running Stream Deck. Cool. Maximize use. And Gather Brain Jam was awesome. So let's see how this goes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Lots of different reasons people are here. So the thing with Stream Deck that I would say is that it's a behind the scenes tool, right? And so it's a little hard to demo for all of you how it works because it's a behind the scenes tool. And so I'll do my best to just share that for the last about 5 or 10 minutes, I have been using Stream Deck to control basically everything that I've been doing. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this a little bit easier for you to see here. So this is my Stream Deck. And when I've been switching between setups, like this to this, that's a switch that's happening in OBS, but I'm controlling it in Stream Deck. When I sent you the link to AHA Slides, I hit this button to open the chat, and then I hit this button, and it automatically typed the link and sent it into AHA Slides. And also I did that with Vivian's name, with a call out for Vivian. I had that loaded up separately too. And also to control the green screen effect that I was using, which is this. This is just a Google Slides presentation, and I'm controlling this in my Stream Deck as well. So I'm just pressing the forward and back button that I've programmed. So hopefully that's all kind of exciting, because that's what we're about to learn how to do, is how to build in Stream Deck, and how to get it to control all of your Zoom things. And even if you never touch OBS, even if you only facilitate in Zoom or in Teams or in any other virtual platform, right? The ability, to me, the thing that like hooked me and sold me on Stream Deck was the ability to pre-write my messages that I wanted to send into the chat, have those ready to go, and then press them by pressing a single button. It's basically a very fancy camera system. Yeah, so it's like a switchboard or a MIDI board or a control deck, right? And there's lots of things we can do with that. So here's what we're gonna do now. Now, instead of me doing things, you're gonna do things. We are gonna build in your Stream Deck. So what you need is you need to pull Stream Deck up on your computer. And what I would recommend, I'm using Stream Deck hardware, but not a phone, but it's exactly the same. Like, it is exactly the same. I just finally like got myself one, and so I wanted to use it today. But I've been, for the last 2 months, everything I've been doing is on the phone. And it's exactly the same software. So just know that. Okay, so what I'll have you do is I'm gonna ask you to pull up your Stream Deck, like the app on your computer, and I'll encourage you to split your screen between that and the Zoom meeting, so that you can see both simultaneously. And I am going to, yes, okay. And so I'm going to be in this view so that you can so that you can see me. And your Stream Deck should look something. This is what you should see on your computer, something that looks a lot like this. Can everyone give me a quick, like, thumbs up? We are that far with you, Meg. Okay, beautiful. All right. So if you've got your computer up and you've got that and you've got the Zoom window, the other thing I want you to do is I want you to have Stream Deck open on your phone so that you can see both. We're going to build on your computer and you're going to test on your phone. So the computer is how you set it up. The phone or the Stream Deck is how you actually like press the button and make whatever happened happen. Whatever we set up to happen. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we're going to make it a little bit easier for all of us to hop between Zoom and Stream Deck. Okay, so before we do that, let's make it easiest to build. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to this drop-down menu in the top right of your Stream Deck on your computer. And you're going to open that up. And there is going to be a bunch of things checked. Probably all of these things are going to be checked for you right now. And I want you to uncheck almost all of them. So if you get to the top level and you see this list, if there's an accordion that's open, just go ahead and close it so that you can just uncheck the whole accordion. All you need to have is OBS. So we don't need game capture, we don't need soundboard, Stream Deck, and system. Go ahead and uncheck everything else. So just OBS, Stream Deck, and system. And once you've done that, just go ahead and hit done. And now your right-hand column, if the accordions are collapsed, should look like this. Okay? Don't see the check marks. This is just to make it easier. It's not necessary, so don't worry. If you hit this button up in the top right, Sylvia, that's where you'll see you'll be able to see the check marks. But if you can't find that, this is just to make it easier. It's not a necessary thing. It's a nice to have, not a need to have. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop down Stream Deck and system. So Stream Deck is basically functions that the Stream Deck can provide, and system is it actually using your computer. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make it easiest, and we want to be able to use our Stream Deck to hop between Zoom and the Stream Deck. So in order to do that, we're going to use this open function. And what you do is you click on it and you drag it into a button location on the Stream Deck. You can copy me, or you can decide to make your own Stream Deck arrangement. You can always change it later. So I would recommend copying me for now. And we're going to title this one Stream Deck. Oh my goodness. I can type Stream Deck. There we go. If you want it on 2 lines, you got to tell it to do a paragraph break. Otherwise, it'll just let you type forever. So we've got Stream Deck, and we are going to tell it what that button is going to open. So you go ahead and hit choose. And that is going to bring up, for me, it looks like this, my applications window. For PC, it'll look a little bit different, but you're going to do basically the same thing, which is you're going to find Stream Deck in your list of applications. And once you've found it, you're going to hit open. Okay. So if you have that, if we've got that so far, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do that again, but for Zoom. So we're going to go to System, Open, click and drag. We'll title this Zoom. And we can go ahead and choose Zoom from our list of applications. Okay. So now, using your Stream Deck on your phone, when you press the Zoom button, see if it brings your Zoom meeting, like makes that the application that is at the forefront. And then press Stream Deck and see if it switches it. Yeah, I'm seeing nods. Okay.
So
Cool.
Meg, it isn't doing
Yes.
it for me, but
Okay.
I wonder if that's because I've gone in and clicked keep Zoom on top.
Yes, I would imagine it is. So great tip, Vivian. If you have, it can't overrule something that you've done already, right? And so you have said, please keep doing this to my Zoom, and that will change the function. Okay, so if those are first two things, and now we're gonna do something that's a little more, to me, a little more, it'll be a little more evident that it's working, and a little more useful as well. We are going to add hotkeys so that we can control Zoom with our Stream Deck. So in order to add hotkeys, basically hotkeys are just keyboard shortcuts, and a keyboard shortcut, there are keyboard shortcuts that Zoom has a ton of keyboard shortcuts, but I've never used them, and probably many of you have never used them because they're really hard to remember. Like in the middle of a Zoom meeting to be like, was it Control-Alt-Z or Control-Alt-C to open the chat? Like, I'm never going to remember that. Okay. But if it's a single button, then I'm on board. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build in a couple of hotkey shortcuts. So it's going to be different depending on PC and Mac. And so I'm going to help you bring up the list so that you can reference it. So going back to Zoom, down in the bottom of Zoom where it says stop video, and you see the little arrow above stop video. If you click on that arrow, it'll say video settings. And if you select that, which like probably most of us have had to navigate to this window before, this is where you change, the settings in Zoom. I want you to, on the left-hand side, and you can see it on mine here, keyboard shortcuts. That's what I want you to have open. So again, this is in Zoom video settings, and all I'm having you pull up is this list of keyboard shortcuts. And that's because when I say add the keyboard shortcut to show hide the chat panel, mine is this, but that may not be true for you, right? And so that's why I want you to have your list of keyboard shortcuts open. Okay, so if you have your list of keyboard shortcuts open, go ahead and put that to the side for the moment. If you're a Mac user, pay careful attention. Macs don't make it easy to tell what the heck a keyboard shortcut is, right? On PC, it'll say Alt F7. On Mac, it says up arrow looking symbol, this other symbol, and H. And you might be like, what are those? If you hover it, it'll give you the text version of it, okay? So like right now, you might see it very small on mine. It looks like up arrow, funny symbol H. If I click and hover that, it says Shift Command H. Okay, so that's useful if you're like, I don't know how to make that keyboard shortcut. Know that you can just click and hover. So come back over to your Stream Deck, and we're going to select this thing that says hotkey. So that's in your systems folder, and it's got this cute little Android looking doodle, and it says hotkey. And we're going to title our first hotkey chat. Okay. Underneath that, where it says, we've got the title and it says chat, and then hotkey, when we click there, it says click to assign. When we click there, it says observing keystrokes. That means like, I'm watching what you're about to touch your keyboard, and whatever you do, that's what I'll input, right? So in the Zoom settings where it says show hide in meeting chat panel, for me, that is Shift Command H. It might be different for you, but whatever it says there in the shortcut, you're going to do in the observing keystrokes. So Shift Command H. Okay, before we go any further, who's lost and where are you lost in this keyboard bit? If you would like to share, because I'd love to catch you up because we're about to do 2 more of these. So I don't want you totally lost for the next 3.
Meg, do you have to have in the in Zoom,
Yep.
there's that column all the way in the right, enable global shortcut.
Yes.
Do you have to have that checked?
You do not.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
You don't need to have it checked. If you have it checked, what that will mean is no matter if your Zoom is on top or not, that shortcut's going to work. I would recommend not doing that because you might mess something else up. Like it might change something in another, or you might want to be able to use that shortcut in another program. So I usually just make sure that I have Zoom up, which is why I add a button to make Zoom that top level, and then I hit whatever keyboard shortcut I want. Does that make sense, Jed?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Thank you. Can't find where the chat is, but other than that, I'm good.
Okay, in the long list of keyboard shortcuts. Yeah.
We need a search box there.
I know, it's so long. For me, it's kind of towards the bottom of the list. It also, if you want to Google it really quick, it might come up faster.
What'd you say? Show hide in meeting chat?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and add a couple of more shortcuts, and we'll see how they work. So we're gonna add one more shortcut, and that's going to be the participant panel. So I'm going to drag in the hotkey. I'm going to call this participant. Oh my God, participant. This is like a spelling game now. Panel. Does panel have 1 or 2? Panel. Okay, we're going to go with that. I'm going to call this participant P because I don't want to spell it wrong. And
yeah.
Oh, it says it right there in the settings. Okay, I feel confident now. There we go. So for me, that is Command P in my shortcuts right here. If you found the chat, hopefully it'll be right above it. So again, I'm going to go click to assign hotkey and assign that hotkey. So if you have those 2 things done, use your Stream Deck to navigate back to Zoom and then hit those buttons and see what happens. Okay, I see some satisfied faces and some very concentrated faces. Feel free to unmute. I can also build a button to ask you all to unmute because that's a keyboard shortcut in Zoom. I just haven't yet. Yeah, Maya.
Okay, I cannot find the chat for PC. It's not in my list or else I'm missing it in my list.
Okay.
Anybody know what it is?
Anybody know for sure what it is?
I believe it's Alt-H.
Thank you. I don't know why I can't find it. I see hide chat, but I don't see. But anyways, thank you.
Okay,
Alt-H.
perfect. Any others? Okay, can you give me a thumbs up if that's working?
I got the chat panel up.
Got the chat panel up. Perfect. Okay, that's really exciting because that's that's one of my most used buttons is the chat panel, because I use that every time I'm about to send a message, right? So now let's build sending a message, because that's the most or sending text that you determine ahead of time. Because for facilitators, for me, that was something that just always weighed me down when I was doing a workshop, was oh, I have to remember to copy and paste this thing over to this thing. And remember, when you're pressing the button, you're pressing it on your phone, not your computer, right? Or on your Stream Deck. Yeah, Corinne, I see you.
Thank you. My phone isn't getting anything from my laptop, and I don't know why.
Okay, so if they aren't they have to be connected. So there's a gear icon on your phone.
It keeps saying
connection failed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attempts to connect post timed out. We're on the same network, I think. Yeah. So it could be a tech issue there.
Okay.
So go
I'm going to troubleshoot that one in like about 5 minutes with you. Okay. Okay, so somebody asked, can I can use them to open the chat and the participant windows. Can I use them to close these windows too? It depends, I think, on Mac or PC. For Mac, it's the same thing. It's show and hide. I think on PC, there might be different functions for show one and hide the other. But if is that true, PC users?
I think that I'm not 100% sure of this, but instead of doing the hotkey, it might work through the hotkey switch.
If it's two different
hotkey.
things, then you'll want to use that. Yeah, and we can get into that. But if when you're using it on your keyboard, you would just do the same button over and over again, then you're going to do the same thing on your Stream Deck as well. Okay, let's do the text, and then we'll check back in. So we're going to come back over to Stream Deck, and we're going to select this text button. And we're going to drag that up into a new button. So I'm going to label this test text and write a message of accomplishment like it worked, or I did it, or this is cool, you know, one of those. And once you've done that, I'm going to press my zoom button to make my zoom the thing that pops up. I'm going to press my chat button to make sure that's open. And the last thing you want to do over in Stream Deck is make sure that you have press enter after message selected. Okay. So I'm going to come back over to my Zoom. I'm going to be in the chat, and I'm going to hit test. Yes. Great job, Sylvia. Great job, Marnie. Okay, this is good for me to see. And you should see, is your chat right now set to everyone, or is it only set to someone? Because if it's not set to everyone, then I can't see it. And we can't all celebrate you.
I think maybe I sent my text to Excel first, because that was highlighted, not my text box.
Yes. So wherever you have it, right? So if you were like, you know, I end up sending the same email over and over and over again, and I'm just going to write that email, and I'm with one button going to be like, check the syllabus, right? Like I'm just going to press that button, and it's going to go ahead and write that whole email for me. Okay. So anyone who it's working for is feeling very satisfied, and that's wonderful. Folks who it's not working for, we're going to jump into troubleshooting for you in one more minute. I want to show one more thing. I'm just going to show it to you, and then I'm going to split us off into troubleshooting and playing, okay? So a couple more things, or two things I want to show you. First thing is that you can create a folder, okay? So over here in Stream Deck, there's a thing called Create Folder. And when you do that, you basically create a whole nother page for buttons. So I do this anytime I have more than one text to send, you know, during an event. I'm going to create a folder called Messages, and then I'll have all of my texts in that folder. So that's something I want you to know that you can do. The other thing that I think is really handy as a facilitator is this thing called Timer. So often during workshops, I'll be like, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, I go, oh my God, how long has it been? I have no idea, because I forget to do that. I forget to set a timer. So there's a timer built into Stream Deck. So if you drag over Timer, one downside, it only works in seconds. So you just have to do math, which is a bummer. But now I know that there's 900 seconds in 15 minutes. So this is a 15-minute timer. And when I press that, and you can see this on my Stream Deck, it will actually start a timer on the Stream Deck, right? So there you go. So now it's counting down on my Stream Deck, not on my phone, not on my computer, right? Because I've just programmed all of this ahead of time. I'm not touching this interface when I'm facilitating. I'm only touching the actual Stream Deck. So now there's a timer built in there. And I have a couple, usually I have like a 5-minute timer and a 15-minute timer. And I might even have a timer for the entire event, right? Just so that I can like give a glance and be like, okay, I have about 25 minutes left. And I find that to be so much easier than paying attention to the clock or doing math in the moment. Okay, is there a way? So
Meg, can I stop for a second?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
we did this and everyone went so smoothly, didn't it? The first time I did this with
Yeah.
you. And I actually did just have to go in again. And I'm not sure. I think, because it's a new computer. Isn't that right? We switched this. But I did have to go in and give permission to OBS to be allowed to use hotkeys.
Yep.
Or not OBS, Stream Deck. And I always forget that you have to unclick the lock.
Yeah.
Before you can make those changes. And so I've just worked myself through that. So I thought I would share that if that's where somebody got lost was with the permissions, but I think that everybody's okay, isn't it? It was just me.
I doubt it was just you, and we'll find out in a moment because I'm gonna we're gonna split off. So what I'm gonna ask everybody to do, I'm going to move my spotlight so we can see each other's faces again. And what I'm going to invite you to do is I'm going to invite you to either jump into a breakout room with Vivian, who is going to help you troubleshoot because she's the troubleshoot wizard, and you can troubleshoot, or I'll have you stay here and we can go through a couple more questions, and we can also just build. So. And when you come back, Maya, from your, or if you stay, I'll answer that question and make sure everybody knows the answer to that question. So if you would like troubleshooting help, here's what I would like you to do. I'd like you to change your name to have the word T ahead of it, because we're not going to mess around with you selecting your breakout rooms. I'm going to assign it just to make sure that it works smoothly. So if you can change your name in Zoom to have a T in front of your name, you can do that in the participants panel. Then I will move you to the troubleshooting room with Vivian. And if you don't have that, then I will, I'll have you stay here. Okay. Anybody like, I need to troubleshoot how to add a T before my name? Please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to say that it's working. Okay. All right, I'm going to open the breakout rooms. We'll come back in about 10 minutes and we'll close out hour 1 at the end of those 10 minutes. Okay, Vivian, you got 3 people coming with, and I got a couple people staying. Here we go.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
So my Stream Deck app on my computer just disappeared and wouldn't come back up unless I closed my phone app, and then I restarted it and it came back, and then I opened my phone app again.
Okay.
I know, random, right?
Acting funny. So one thing I will share is that a lot of the software, like OBS and Stream Deck, Zoom, like some of us are running Macs or computers that are 5 years old, and they were never meant to do any of these things, right? And we are asking a lot of them, and we can get a lot out of them. But sometimes I think the tech glitches aren't the software, it's that the hardware we're using is just like,
really
yo,
true.
I was built for some Google slides. Like, what are you trying to get me to do right now?
Totally. I'm small for speed, not for mirror.
Yeah, right. I'm built for speed, not for work, not for grunt work. Yeah. So, okay. So I wanted to let you know, you can just play around and build right now if you would like to, or I wanted to open it up for like, I have a question because I understand everything that we've done. And so help me understand like this next level of stream decking. Go ahead, Maya.
How did you get the graphics? Is that OBS?
That's OBS.
Okay. What can you do without OBS?
What can you do without OBS? Well, you can control a screen share.
Okay.
So if you have a screen, you can actually use Stream Deck to, like, anything you can do in hotkeys, right? So if
Okay.
you read through that list of hotkeys and you're like, cool, I can like start my screen share from this, then you can just have a button that says start screen share. You can have a
Okay.
button that says start record. Like, those are things I have also forgotten to do, right, during a brain jam or an event. So you can have your screen share, right? And let's say if you're using screen share to show Google Slides, I'll just do this like as a quick example right now. You're going to see this looks wild because this is built to be green screened, but I'm going to use my Stream Deck now to click through it.
Got you. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. So rather than having to like mess around with clicking on my computer or even just having to like pay attention to my keyboard in this new way, I like just having the functions that I know I'm going to use on Stream Deck. It just feels less like fiddly
Clunky.
and clunky.
So there's also PowerPoint as a virtual background as a share now in Zoom.
Yes.
Under advanced share, you can
Yes.
share your slides behind you. So you sort of sit with your cutout in front of your whole deck.
Yes. So you could totally do that. And there is advanced, y'all are, ready for the next level of stuff. So with, hold on a sec. We're getting some meta-ness right now. Here we go. So I had you close all the things we didn't need right at the beginning on the left side. There is a button that says more actions down here at the bottom. And if you open that up, you're going to get a list of like things people have built for Stream Deck.
Cool.
And one of those things is
Spotify integration.
What's that?
Spotify integration. That's
Spotify
fantastic.
integration. Yeah. So that you can, I have a setup to control my Spotify on my computer with Stream Deck. You can also, I don't use PowerPoint, so that's why I haven't introduced it. There is a PowerPoint integration where they have buttons for forward and back and all of those like already built in and beautiful. So all you have to do is hit install. It's going to install it on your Stream Deck. And now down here at the bottom, there's PowerPoint. Play, next slide, previous slide, first slide, all that stuff is right there.
Oh, that's genius.
Maya, you asked, is there a way to show the time in Zoom from Stream Deck? So there is a button. So if you go to more actions in Stream Deck, and then there's something, I can't remember what they call it. I might have it installed already.
So the way I did it was, it's probably complicated. I went to, my browser.
Yeah.
I downloaded or I linked in my favorite folder a timer that was free.
Yeah.
Then I hotkeyed that.
Yes.
And I did that too with Amazon Music so that I could, when I'm doing my training sessions, just hotkey everything while I'm still presenting.
Yes. So that's absolutely. And there's some really powerful integrations in Stream Deck, like if this, then that, which will allow you to do like, you could do incredibly complicated things because that is something that allows you to use other programs. There's also something called analog clock.
Okay.
Which is what I thought you were talking about. So I'll show you, like, this is my computer's basic this is what my computer looks like, or this is what I use on a day-to-day basis when I'm not facilitating. And that thing in the middle is a live clock.
Okay.
Like, it just shows me the time. And I just like that. This opens Spotify, this opens Slack, this creates a new
And how did you get the analog clock? Did you?
It's in the more actions.
More actions. Okay.
Yep. And it's a special plugin in Stream.
So you can see it on your phone, but it's not going to show on your screen necessarily.
So this is where like it's hard to remember what people are seeing where, right? Right now, if I was just facilitating a normal workshop, you all wouldn't be seeing anything.
Right.
Right. So all of this is behind the scenes, all back end stuff. So they're not going to see anything. If I want to show a timer, in my window, I'd have to use OBS to like overlay that, right? But you're like, oh, I'm looking at your Stream Deck. I'm like, yeah, but that's only because we're doing a Stream Deck Brain Jam, right? Otherwise, there's no reason you would ever even know I'm using Stream Deck. I've facilitated, 20 workshops. That's way too high. 5 workshops, using Stream Deck. None of them know I'm using Stream Deck. I could very easily be clicking around my computer.
I was trying to figure out how you were copy clipping so fast.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
because I'm not, because I'm using Stream Deck. That's how I'm copy and pasting so fast. Yeah, Kim, go ahead.
Yeah, can you give an example of what kind of functions you use for, like, what kind of remote buttons you'd program in for OBS?
Yes,
like,
but I'm gonna hold off till the
Okay.
second hour for that.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's mostly just scene switches and turning. We can get into how to do it, but I would say what I do is scene switches and toggling. What are they called? They are called sources on and off. Those are the 2 things I basically do. And we can talk about that more in the second hour.
And then I have a question. If I can't stay for the second hour, where do I find these presentations? It's amazing. It's amazing. This is my first one.
Yeah. Ill-timed drink of water. So Brain Jams happen every month, this same time. If you want to know about them, there's a couple of different ways to do that. You will be on, like from coming for one, I'm going to add you to our Facilitator Cards events mailing list. And so next time we announce one, you will get that announcement. If you want to know more about Facilitator Cards and like all of the different things we do, next month's Brain Jam is on responsive and emergent facilitation using the cards. So we'll send you more info about that in that email.
And then you're recording this one. So if we if we want to catch the second hour, do you post it somewhere?
Yeah. So depending on whether the second hour makes sense to post or not, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. With this one, it probably will. The Facilitator Cards YouTube channel.
Oh, didn't even know.
Yep. All right. Marnie had to run maybe already. Okay, I'm going to bring back the group. We're going to wrap up in this first hour. And then for anybody who is able to stay, we're going to keep on building and talking about this because I know it was a lot to absorb, but know that like and you all did make it work in Zoom, then like the possibilities and the ease from here goes way up, right? And we can get into some more complex stuff in the second hour if you're able to stick around. I'm going to go ahead and close the breakout rooms. I'm going to give them a 1-minute warning. Any last question before we bring everybody back? Not last question, but just like, anyone have a question before we bring everybody back?
Meg, when I was playing with it a little bit yesterday to get ready, I was using OBS as well. And I'm sorry, this might be like a second half or question, but I noticed like the quality of like what I was sharing through OBS seems like a little bit grainier compared to like just sharing through Zoom. It could be a hardware thing. I didn't know if you had any similar experiences or any suggestions around that, but
I would say look into the OBS settings and specifically what your output resolution is.
Okay.
So that's what I would check out. Okay. Is less Zoom and more checking into what in OBS it's pumping out.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Kim's over there playing with OBS, making an event happen. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to bring everybody back. We're going to close out and then we'll keep jamming. Okay, boop. I got to say, it is one thing to teach Stream Deck, is another thing to use Stream Deck to teach Stream Deck. Because I have a setup for our workshop, but I haven't been able to use it the whole time because I've been teaching you how to build in it. It's like you need 2 separate ones to do that. All right.
Oh, okay. Is the hotkey the same as for when we made the custom shortcuts in Zoom? Is that the same thing?
So hotkeys are keyboard shortcuts.
Got it. Okay. Because I missed that because my computer crashed. So I did Zoom, and then there's custom shortcuts. So I use that instead of.
I see. So if you customize them over here, you'll have to use the same ones in Stream Deck. It's just referencing what is already true in Zoom.
Got it.
Does that make sense, Kat?
I think so.
So just to reiterate, so keyboard shortcuts, like if you had that memorized in when you're in Zoom and you pressed Command-Shift-H, I think that's what it is for my chat.
For chat.
Right? When you press those 3 buttons, your chat should open and close.
Yeah.
What you're doing in Stream Deck is basically telling them, like, when I press this button, I want you to tell my computer that I'm pressing these 3 keys.
Yeah. And it works.
And that's how it works. Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
Okay. So we're coming up on time. I am really excited to hear about how the troubleshooting went. I'm going to do a really quick closing just to get some information out there for those who don't know or who need to jump right here at the end of the hour. I'm going to press a button to do it. So if you can fill out this Brain Jam feedback form at the end of this session, I would so appreciate it. And next month, on the first Wednesday, same time, we are going to do a jam on emergent and responsive facilitation. So how to facilitate when everything goes off the rails and you're like, I have to make up an agenda now because the CEO quit and we have to, improv, or how to improv with your group, even when things are going well. So we are going to do a brain jam on that. We're going to focus on using facilitator cards to help us do it. And you will need a deck in order to make that brain jam work. So I linked the RSVP there as well. So that's where those 2 links are in the chat. I pressed 1 button to send all of that because of Stream Deck. And I really appreciate people jumping in, trying something new. If you can stick around for the second hour, we've got more troubleshooting, more digging in, and more things to learn and play around with. We will record the second hour, and as long as it's something that makes sense to post, it will go up on the Facilitator Cards YouTube channel, which is where all of these things end up going. So yes, thank you all so much for coming. Maybe unmute and give us a wave as you sign off if you're not sticking around for the second hour. Otherwise, I hope to see you again at the next Brain Jam. I'd love to maybe, because there's just a few of us, I'd love to maybe go around and hear what people would love out of this second hour, or you obviously don't need to stick around for the entirety of that hour, but just why you're sticking around, like what you're hoping to get more out of, just so that I can make sure, okay, some of us want to know the OBS stuff, some of us want to go back to the basics, and like we can split off and do 2 separate things, but maybe if we could just go around and hear from everyone briefly. So maybe we'll go Jed, Corinne, Kat, and keep going. But Jed, what you sticking around for?
So I played with this before tonight, today, whatever. And so I just want to keep playing, and I definitely have some things, some like little pieces that I have the basics, but there's some like little nuances that are really troubling me.
Okay, perfect.
There's some stuff I'm really good at. There's other stuff that I'm still struggling with.
Okay, perfect. Corinne, what about you?
I still can't get my phone to connect to it. I think I'll have to go soon as well. I think it might be a Wi-Fi issue.
Yeah, if you need to have your Wi-Fi on the same exact network. I had that problem earlier.
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you using a PC, Corinne? Because I know you have to go brief. You're using a PC. Yeah. Okay. So this is something I was hoping just wouldn't be a trouble thing, but it was, and because it's. I don't have a PC to troubleshoot this with. There's something around like, and I know this is going to sound too advanced, and please don't be scared off because I think it's a really simple fix. The 2.4 gigahertz connections versus like a 5 gigahertz connection, that it has to be on a 2.4.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I know, that does make sense.
Okay.
And I know there's 2, and I think they're both on the 2. Huh. So I'm going to play. I mean, my Wi-Fi is shockingly bad at the moment. Maybe it's just struggling to connect.
It might be. Yeah, because I can see that the bandwidth coming through the videos is.
And it's getting dark here as well.
Oh yeah, that might be it too. So
I will also say that I use the iPhone and the PC, and one of the related challenges is that I need to reconnect a lot. So I'll connect, like every time I restart Stream Deck, I have to go back to bring up the QR code and reconnect the iPhone to the Stream Deck running on the PC. And I don't know why, but it happens all the time.
That's a bummer. Yeah, that is such a bummer. Because I don't experience that with iPhone to Mac, and I hadn't anticipated, or not that I hadn't anticipated that, but that's such a bummer that it works once you do that, but you have to do that extra step. And I would say that feels like something that is very much a software thing, and that Elgato, the company that makes Stream Deck, is just not doing a good enough job of optimizing the mobile Stream Deck, because most people, what they're ultimately trying to do is sell you a physical object, and the software is the accompanying part of it, versus mobile, I think, is a better deal, a better entry place, but maybe a less ideal product overall. Bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got your test, Jed. Kat, what you hoping?
I think I'm gonna listen to you guys play around while I play around with mine and set it up how I think will work, and then maybe test a few things during.
Yeah, that's exactly what this second hour is for.
Awesome.
Corinne, I'm so sorry I don't have more to offer you on the immediate thing. I want you to be able to play with all of us.
No problem. Thank you so much. We played Gather a lot after the last time.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, we're going to say cheerio and we'll catch this on the recording.
Hope to see you again soon. Bye. Kim, you want to get into some OBS stuff, or you already doing it? I see you kind of doing it.
Yeah, I'm messing around a little bit. I guess it'd be more valuable just to hear what functions you have found to be most useful.
Yeah.
But we don't have to. I'm also just enjoying playing.
Yeah, totally.
Stuff. I figured out how to change scenes and stuff like that.
I see that.
Like, there's us at Gob. But I'm curious, aside from switching scenes, like, is there anything else that you find to be really helpful?
Yeah. So would you mind switching the scene? So because I'm getting freaked out by being in two places. Awesome. Okay. So what I would say is that, so switching scenes looks like this, right? These are 3 different scenes that I have set up. And then the other thing that I like to do is turn on and off sources within scenes. So Jed and Kat, if you're like, what is happening right now? We're talking about OBS and we'll switch back to talking about Stream Deck. I just want to give Kim like maybe 2 minutes so that
I need this. So I'm super excited.
Okay, so that you can play a little bit more, and then we'll come back, because I want to know, Jed, like where you're stuck versus where you're not stuck. So Kim, this is my what I call main scene in my OBS, and one of the sources in that scene is my green screened slides. So I'm not changing scenes when I open this up. I am turning on and off a source.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
So that's how I'm doing it. I'm turning on and off a source, because I was like, I don't need a whole separate scene for this. I just need to be able to turn on and off that source. And what that lets me do is like not have to hop between, I don't have to set up as many scenes, and I just can turn on and off something really easily.
So would the equivalent of that in OBS, if you didn't have Stream Deck, just be that little eyeball button?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. So you're programming the eyeball button. Okay.
I'm programming the eyeball button. And because Stream Deck is so often used with OBS, there is in Stream Deck, right, there's a thing that says source.
Source, okay.
And activate/deactivate a source. And so I'll show you, like I drag that in. Yes, I want to replace it. I tell it, it's in this collection. It's on this scene.
This scene.
And it's
this source.
This source. I don't know why. My computer is just absolutely refusing to cooperate.
It's like you're doing way too much now. Please
it's just
give
like,
me a break.
Please, please slow down, Meg.
Okay, no, I think I get it.
That's how you do it. So that's one thing I do. Is you're basically just toggling on and off that eyeball. I also like it, like you could toggle it. You could have it
little things,
little things like that.
That's
and
awesome.
The other thing that you can do that we didn't get into is you can also set up and this is for everybody, there's a thing called multi-action in Stream Deck, right? So you'll see that here under Stream Deck, there's this thing called multi-action. I'm going to get to something so I can drag it in. Whoop, not multi-action switch, multi-action. So when you do multi-action, you can now program a bunch of actions in a row to happen when you press one button. So when I was sending multiple lines of text, that's how I was doing that. So I was dragging in my text.
It's a list, so you're essentially pressing play on a list of actions.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So
which if you think about that from a facility, like I'm going to change my camera, I'm going to put out a link for people to follow and open breakout rooms.
Yeah.
That just went from being a
lot of clicks to one button.
Yeah.
cortisone mess to blink.
Yep.
These are the actions that need to happen at this point in my agenda.
Yep. Absolutely. So you can, like I was saying, you know, open the chat and then send the text. But if you wanted to, in multi-action, you could say, okay, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do open the chat, because that's what that, you know, open the chat. And then I'm going to send the text. And now I can be in Zoom with my chat closed. I can press one button and it'll send the text.
Nice.
Okay, but I'm
Cool.
just
And
gonna
open the
like
chat.
I'm gonna go one step ahead of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your chat is open and you push that button,
It
now
doesn't
close your
work.
chat. It doesn't work.
Yes, which is why I don't use it to open the chat, because I don't want to have to remember every time. So that's why for me, I leave a little chat button in my, like that's why I have this next to all my texts, because I don't want to have to remember to close it. I just want to make sure that it's open. But like Kim, what you were talking about in OBS, you could have it turn off two things in a scene, or you could have it like, I want it to switch this and I want it to, you know, like I something I did do recently. Let me see if I can pull up the. Okay, so this is a multi-action I used in a workshop recently. It has 8 actions. So this was ambitious, but like I really wanted to see and test out the uses of it. So let me just pin myself here so we can see it a little bit clearer. So this is a multi-action I used recently in a workshop. I had it open Chrome because I knew I was going to be on Zoom beforehand. I had it change the window because I knew I was going to be using AHA slides, and now I knew that like I didn't want it to use AHA slides anymore. I had it open a new tab. I had it open a new tab. Oh yeah, this is why. Yep, had it open a new tab. I'm realizing this is why it didn't work in the moment because I didn't add this step in. Had it open this site. Had it type in this site. Had it change the scene in OBS, and had it open up back Zoom, open up the chat, and send a text. So like with one button, it did all of those things. And I put in a little, let's try it right now. Let's see. Let's see what it will do.
You might need a return. The one you just added in, you didn't click hit return.
Nice. Way to catch that. It's trying to pull up a new scene in OBS right now, so that's why it's freaking out. Okay, I think you're right. I think you're right, Jed. That was the only thing I missed. Let's see. Oh no. I don't have this set up right. Okay, so it's not doing it because I was expecting to be coming from a different baseline.
Yeah.
Right, but
it's okay. I get it though.
It'll do it, and it's kind of like this is where it does start to be a little bit like computer programming. Like if it can, it will work. Right.
Cool.
And this is where you can get too ambitious. Maybe 8 or 9 is too ambitious, but maybe just like I want it to switch this, and then I want it to open up Zoom again. I want to send this message in the chat, right? that would be simple enough to do. And I think I kind of did that during our, like this, the thing I sent at the end of our Zoom, end of hour 1, I sent, hey, there's a link to a feedback form. Here's the link. And then I had it wait 5 seconds before sending the next messages.
Nice.
So that's
okay.
something.
So it's like, yeah, you can get very intricate with these commands.
Yeah, you could get super intricate, but like this one, really only took me like two or 3 minutes to program because I just had to write what I wanted. And then I was like, how long do I want to be able to say those things before it sends the next messages?
Yeah.
And then I sent the next messages.
Soon you'll be able to facilitate a workshop and you won't even have to be there.
And next month we're going over how to record yourself convincingly. Every question you just say, we're going to get to that at the end.
So this is a dumb question.
I love dumb questions.
For OBS, I just downloaded a program because I think it's a program, right? But my icon looks very different than yours, and it looked like it was for recording. But I'm looking, like, I'd love to learn how to make the screens with the logo and with the green screens. Do you have videos on YouTube about those yet?
Yeah. So OBS, I think it's obsproject.com, might be obsproject.org. I shouldn't have put a link. I should have just OBS project. obsproject.com.
Yeah, that was the one I downloaded. Okay.
Yep. So a couple of things. If you want to know how to do that, you want to check out the Getting Started guide on the Facilitator Cards blog. That's where I would start. And then we haven't added it yet, but you can find it to that. It's not in that blog post, and I need to update it. But the green screen thing we went over in the Brain Jam Encore. And so that is up on the YouTube. The YouTube. I feel like, I'm like, what are the kids on the TikToks today? The YouTubes, but it is on the Facebook. Yeah. It is on YouTube, the Encore. So it's called the Brain Jam, OBS Brain Jam Encore is where you will see the green screen thing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to change your entire life, Kat.
I'm so excited.
It just changes everything.
Jed,
I love the commands in this. My friend Rina just told me about this Stream Deck because she heard it from your email, and I'm sad she's not here, but it's going to change my world, like, completely.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it, and that's why I wanted to brain jam on it, because it's one of those things where as soon as I started using it, I was like, where has this been my whole life? And for me, like, I'll just show you really briefly, like, I really do use this. This is outside the scope of Facilitator cards and facilitation, but like, I use it now every time I sit down at my computer. Like, this opens up, like, this is Chrome, Spotify, right? These are all the controls for Spotify.
Oh, cool.
This just, makes my computer louder or quieter. These are this is the go.
That's nice. Like, if I have music going on in one of my classes virtually, I could turn Spotify down, but keep my own mic volume up. So that's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a Spotify integration in Stream Deck, which you could add. That was just my computer. That one's just my computer. That's just my computer volume. But yeah, like, I use this. These are common links that I send people, or that I want to be able to access. This adds a new Google Calendar. Like, this one is a multi-action, and it opens Chrome, opens a new tab, and enters the text, which is cal.new, and that will create a new Google Calendar event. So, like, I've gotten adventurous with it, but now I use it all the time. And you can create, we didn't get into this, but you can create different profiles. That's what these are called, right?
Yeah.
We only use one profile, but I basically have like a landing page, and then I have sub pages underneath that.
So cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jed. So those different, what you just showed, Meg, those were different profiles, not folders underneath.
Right. So there's like, basically you can do it either way. I could make them folders and I would have one single profile and they would all be basically, cascades within those, right? Because folders are like, if you do a folder within a folder within a folder, you then have to go back out. And I have instead chosen to do different profiles. And the way you navigate between those is to use something right here called switch profile.
Oh, that was my question, is how are you switching them so easily?
Yep. So that's a button I've put in, and there's a button called switch profile. And then you can just tell it which profile do you want to switch it to. So this is my Stream Deck Brain Jam profile, and this is what I was using when I wasn't teaching you all, but I wanted to like send links or whatever. Like that's what I was using today. I basically created a master profile, which its job is to be the landing spot for all of my profiles. And then if I click computer, that's my computer profile. If I want to go back to my landing page, I pressed this thing that this is my words and my little icon. I created a little icon because I thought it was cute, called Launchpad, and that's my home. I call it Launchpad, my home profile. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
I have 2 questions for you, if I could.
Great.
The first is that a whole bunch of my things that I have now created here, they all beep when I hit them. Any idea why?
Beep?
You know, like, so like, you know how you get that little, you'll probably hear it if I hit something. Let's see here, hang on.
Do they work?
Did you hear the beep?
Yeah.
Bling.
It's that little
like
Windows bling.
It's a little success noise.
I don't know what it is.
So
like when I close the chat window, when I open and close the chat window, it blings. Actually, it doesn't if I'm talking.
Oh yeah, okay.
There's the participant panel.
Yeah.
Whatever that is that I created, I don't even remember anymore.
When you use your computer normally, does it make a bling every time you move the things?
Nope.
Okay. So it's a Stream Deck thing.
So and some of them are things that I just pulled straight from Stream Deck. So it's not even stuff that I did myself. So okay, so that's a new one. Excellent. And then my real big question is, and this ties in with the whole idea of creating the Zoom icon. When I create my Zoom icon, it doesn't. Let me back up a second. So I'm using at least 2 screens. I'm using either 2 or 3 screens whenever I'm on.
Yep.
And the big challenge that I have found with Stream Deck is that when I'm on the screen or on the program that I want to use, it works fine. So if I have PowerPoint up and I hit advanced slide or start slideshow or whatever, it's fine. But if I've last clicked in Zoom and PowerPoint is kind of in the background, it's not getting, it works with Chrome. No matter where I am, if I hit my pre-programmed Chrome keys, it brings up that website, no problem. But I can't get it to work with PowerPoint, and I can't really get it to work with Zoom. And the Zoom button that I just programmed just brings up the 4 tile window. You know, the one
in Zoom.
In Zoom, it doesn't bring my existing Zoom window to the top.
Okay, so a couple of things. First thing is that this isn't you programming it wrong. This is a limitation of Stream Deck, is that it's only able to do, unless you enable global shortcuts, right? Like we were talking, you had that question, right? Of like, should I enable this global shortcut?
Right.
If you do that and tell the Stream Deck, hey, use this global shortcut to open my window in Zoom, and that checkbox is clicked off, it should work.
The problem is if that shortcut exists in another program, you're SOL.
You may very well be SOL. I personally don't use global shortcuts that often, other than, no, I don't use global shortcuts because I'm worried about that. But it's not, but if you wanted to try it out, like try that out, because that's how it would work. It needs to, the shortcut you're using needs to be a global shortcut if what you want it to do is work when you're away from that program.
Gotcha.
If you want it to, and so that's why I program in, I was wondering why this is looking different than my Stream Deck. So that's why I program in buttons for Chrome, is that I will press that to have it come to the forefront, and then I'll use the, you know, forward and back button to navigate it. And what I do is I basically hide my Chrome window at the bottom of my screen. Like, I don't minimize it, but it can be in the forefront and also barely exist on my screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Chrome works no matter what program I'm in. So I've programmed into my Stream Deck, like I use a random deck of cards all the time. So instead of having to find it on or wheel of names, I can just hit it, and no matter where I am.
Would you mind telling me or showing me, whichever one's easier for you, how did you program it in Stream Deck?
I don't know, a bloody clue.
Okay.
Let's see here. I just, so I don't know what I did, but I titled, it's just
Are you
the
able to share your
URL. So
screen?
it's a website. So I took the website.
Okay.
So under system,
yep.
I took website.
So that's why it's working every time, is because website is a thing that says, got it, I'm going to open Chrome and I'm going to point it towards this website. So It's not that it's accessing Chrome. It's that, like, that's the specific function of that button.
Right.
Versus like a text key or a hotkey that can be used in any program. Right. And so, like, when I'm in Gather, if I was using a program where forward and back wasn't going to command my, you know, slides, it was going to command my little avatar to move forward or back. That's what that button would do, because it's just a hotkey. And so that's why it's different, is because website is using, like, your computer knows that you like opening websites in Chrome. And so that's what it's doing, is opening a website.
So how are you pulling the program that you wanted to control, like Zoom, to the front without taking your mouse and clicking on that program? Or are you just taking your mouse, clicking on the program, and then going back to Stream Deck?
I'm using this button. I'm using the buttons where I open a program. And you were saying that wasn't...
What if the program's already open?
Then it will bring it to the fore.
It won't open up another version of it?
No. And if it does, and I was having that problem with Zoom, and what I realized is I had 2 different copies of Zoom installed on my computer.
Gotcha. Because like PowerPoint, you can open multiple PowerPoints.
Does PowerPoint, if you open the app called PowerPoint, does it open multiple PowerPoints every time you press that button?
I don't know. I haven't played with PowerPoint. I haven't played with this with PowerPoint yet.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know what the answer was. You just told me what the answer is.
Yeah.
So I haven't played with it with PowerPoint. I have tried to play with it with Zoom. And like I said, my challenge with Zoom is that when I hit my Zoom,
is this
stream,
Windows coming up?
No, this one is. Can I share?
Yep, you can share.
So when I hit my Zoom on my stream thing,
yep,
I get that one.
Okay.
You see it?
Yes, I do. So I will give you an unsatisfactory answer, and so my unsatisfactory answer would be to drag that so that you can't really see it on your computer. Don't minimize it and don't exit it, but just drag it off to the side. Can you do that?
I can, let's see. I can't make it terribly small. The question is, what happens when I do that?
So
let's see. So here, let me share again.
Yep. This will get, oh no, it'll be okay. Yep.
Okay.
A little trippy. So can you press your chat button on your Stream Deck?
So I got out of Zoom now. So in theory, I'm in Stream Deck on a different screen.
Okay, don't use Stream Deck as the example. Can you open any other application?
Yeah, I got to just get something open.
Okay, because Stream Deck is a little bit of a funky application.
So I'm in Word.
Great.
So if I hit my chat window.
Well, hit Zoom first.
Ooh, boy, that was goofy.
Yeah, because your chat is your hotkey, right? So you want to hit Zoom first, then your chat.
No, it doesn't do it.
Okay, because it's trying to bring up that window. I hear your little pinging sound. I think that pinging sound is a setting in Stream Deck, but I'd have to Google it.
Okay, I will research that.
And for Zoom, it bringing up that other window, I think there might just be a different way you need to call upon Zoom, basically have it open Zoom.
I do too. I think that so what I'm running is zoom.exe.
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful PC phrase that you probably know nothing about.
Not really, but I know enough to know that that's what you were saying.
So and I wasn't being disparaging there, just that
no.
As a Macer, you don't have to worry about those crazy things.
Correct. That's why I love Mac.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out what the hang on one second. I'm just making a note for myself, because that's the other thing about age is if you don't, you forget it.
One thing I would say is that like Zoom is one of the only programs I'm having that trouble with, Jed, because I was having that trouble too. And so I did sometimes, like I could keyboard, or I could Stream Deck around, like, switching between stuff and opening, my Chrome and having all of that work. And then when I wanted to get back to Zoom, I would just take my mouse and click on Zoom. Like,
right, which is clearly the answer, but
you want to figure it out.
The goal is for you not to have to touch your mouse.
That was my goal, right? I don't know if that's everybody's goal. My goal was to not as much to touch it, but I didn't want to have to fiddle with it. So even if I had to just click my Zoom, but I could still toggle the chat on and off with the Stream Deck, that was a win, because finding the chat button, that was really annoying for me. Or when I was screen sharing, the chat button disappears into a menu.
Yeah, right? More.
Yeah,
3 dots more.
Now I have to like click on the dots and click on that button, and so that's even like a better time to use the shortcut. And so for me, clicking on Zoom, while annoying, and I do want to make it work, was probably the smallest barrier to entry for me. Chat, sending things in the chat, checking on the participants, do you have a question or not? Those types of things, those were all so much easier using Stream Deck.
Right.
Even if you have to click on Zoom.
Stream Deck does have a Zoom section, which I have used, which I've put in.
Huh? I found it clunky.
Yeah, but it's interesting that it doesn't. Even when you use that, I'm not sure that it's. Let me see if I do this. Hang on one second. Let's just try.
Because one thing to so just to let you know what me and Jed are talking about in Stream Deck, where you go to more actions, right? A bunch of people have like custom programmed basically add-ons to Stream Deck, and there's one that says Zoom plugin, but this wasn't built by Stream Deck. This was built by this dude, Margin Smith. So if it doesn't work, Stream Deck's like, hey, it's not us. Like that's Margin's fault. So that's just something to know. If it's made by Elgato, so like the Control Twitch, or Spotify, like that's probably going to work really well because it's made by the company that made Stream Deck. But if it's made by a person, just know that
hit or miss.
It's a little more, it may be a little more hit or miss if it's not by that company, because it means it's not kind of officially supported.
So I have a question for you, Meg.
Yeah.
So I put in my Gather workshop space, and I put in the back end of my digital stickies so that I can control my prompts that are going out, which we talked about last time. Except every time I hit it, it opens it in a new tab.
And
So
how did you put it in?
I put it in as a website.
Is that what you want it to do, is open it as a website?
Well, I only use Gather as a website.
So I would...
Is there an application for Gather?
Okay, so this is one of those. No, I don't think there. Yes, there is actually. There's a desktop application for Gather, but that wasn't what I was thinking. So you probably have Gather open.
Well, so the first time I hit it, it opens Chrome, and it opens the workshop.
Yeah.
And then if I toggle back to Zoom.
Yep.
And I go to Gather, it opens a new window.
Yeah, because you're using website, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do is personally, let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I would do is have Gather open in Chrome or in whatever compute thing you're using.
And then toggle to Chrome
and then toggle to Chrome. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can, because there's a keyboard shortcut for this. There's a keyboard shortcut for switching like if you have more than one tab open on Chrome.
Yeah.
And those tabs are if they're in different windows, there's one keyboard shortcut you can use to hop between the different windows. And if they're on the same window and they're just different tabs, there's a different keyboard shortcut you can use to switch between the tabs.
Okay, so you would just put a tab in.
Yeah, so I just wanted to I don't have, let me see, I can set this up pretty quickly to just show you what I mean. Display capture. Okay, yes, go away. Okay, so what I mean is there's a keyboard shortcut. Let me see if I just remember it. Yeah, I do. Okay, so you're on a Mac, Vivian? Okay, so when you're on a Mac and you want to hop between Chrome, between two tabs, Command 1 will bring you to the first tab, and Command 2 will bring you to the second tab.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that work?
Yeah. Well, okay. I understand that that's going to be the thing that I'm going to do. So I'm going to have it.
Cool.
I'm going to do is.
So what I would.
Go
ahead.
Because I have two things that are web-based that go on during the workshop. One is Gather, although maybe not, because maybe I'm just going to get that app.
Sure.
But then, so I've embedded the activity and everybody's working on the activity, and then they're ready for the next card, and I have to go to the web-based admin page.
Okay.
To click a button.
Yep.
To release the next card.
Okay. So what you would like to have happen is you'd like to be able to press a button and have it go, okay, I'm looking at Gather right now. And then you'd like to be able to press another button and have it go, okay, I'm looking at my admin page.
Look at the admin page.
And you'd like to be able to do that from Zoom. From when you're in Zoom?
Well, no, I'm in Gather. I would be in Gather.
Yep.
Running the workshop.
Yep. In Chrome or whatever app you use to run Gather.
Or however I am there. And I actually probably don't need to solve this because it isn't actually as clunky.
Yeah.
The only way it's worthwhile to solve it is if I can turn it into a push one button and it releases the cards.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go in and click the one I want. And
agreed.
Yeah. So it's,
but if you can do that
as an academic exercise, it's interesting to try, but it also doesn't need to be solved.
So I'll just say, I do use what we were just talking about, though, when I'm facilitating. And the way I would use it is with OBS. Because let's say there's two different windows I want to share. I don't want to set up two different scenes to share them, right? I just want to be able to toggle back and forth really quickly between them. So this is going to get trippy for just a second while I try to figure out this. Okay, here we go. So now I have OBS project up. Oh, this is very distracting. Okay. All right, here we go. So I have OBS project up right here, right? Okay. And let's say I wanted to be able to click on Chrome and then with a button on Stream Deck, be able to switch between the two windows I had open. Mm-hmm. That I could do with what I just showed you, which was using a keyboard shortcut to go between the different windows. And I could do that with a keyboard shortcut that I program on Stream Deck. Or if these were all in the same tab, they're just slightly different keyboard shortcuts, right? But if they're all in the same tab, I can do the same thing of just hit 1, hit 2, hit 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I'm just still trying to figure out, like, basically what we're talking about here is like theater production. And like, if I think go back to like theater arts classes way back in the day, and they gave me that beautiful mixing board, and I could take all my sound cues and all my light cues, and then that weird, you know, they bought the fog machine, and you could actually get the fog machine to go in. Yeah. And so then we would actually sit down, and this is, I think, the thing that I have to just do is, like, instead of just winging it and doing improv, my workshop can now be a show, and it can have, like, I just, as the stage manager, I need to sit down and go through all of the technical requirements of the workshop, and then figure out the best way to use the mixing board, which is the Stream Deck, to make it so that I only need to have the one set of things. Yeah. And it's worth doing because for my process for this particular workshop, the questions change maybe, but the process is the same. So when I see you say, like, okay, so I've got one button and this whole workshop is in there, the real work now isn't even in the figuring out how to use Stream Deck. It's now actually applying it to my own workshop and going, what do I actually do? It's the same that I could program in and have go easier or faster with this technology.
Yeah. And right? I think that is exactly right. And to me, there's kind of like the step one of learning Stream Deck is just like, what is possible here?
Yeah.
Right?
What is possible?
What is possible?
How am I going to apply it?
Yeah. What's possible? And then what do I find clunky? And then how can I automate anything I find clunky? And what's worth automating and what's not, right? Because like maybe it's not worth automating, you know, like if it takes me and Jed another half hour to figure out how to open Zoom, like maybe the click is worth it, right? Like maybe clicking it is worth it. But for me, typing out multiple lines of text in the chat, automating that is always worth it. So it's just, it does. It becomes a production, but we end up, I think to me, it moves the in the moment stress to which beforehand prep. Yeah. One thing I just wanted to, because we're coming up closer to the 2 hour mark. Kat, do you have any questions or anything that you were trying out that you're like, this didn't work and I wanted to?
All the ones I've tried out so far have worked. I do need to learn the OBS, so I'll do that separately. But this was so helpful. So thank you so much.
Great. Maybe we could do, just like to satisfy my facilitator self, just a quick, like, if anybody would want to share like what your one takeaway from this was, or one thing you can see yourself using it, that might be a nice way to like kind of officially wrap up, and then we can stick around for more questions related or unrelated to Stream Deck. But I'd love to hear if people have one thing that they're like, yeah, this is how I'm going to use it, or this is my one takeaway.
So I'll give you two.
Text.
Okay.
Sorry, Jed, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jed.
Kat.
Okay. We're all so nice here. We'll go Kat, and then Jed, and then Vivian.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to use the text. I've created some MailChimp surveys for post-painting class reviews and, getting feedback, because it's all very new. And of course, feedback is how the world goes around anyway. So posting all those links and like having them pop up right then and there, I think is going to get my feedback surveys like way more. Like you said, I think in one of your videos that I watched earlier, you're like, yeah, nobody likes to fill out those feedback forms that we email you. And I was like, oh, but I could just put them in Zoom. So I could stop class 5 minutes early and say, hey, open this link and do this right now. And I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, it does make a big difference. And especially if you give them time, like another just pro tip, give them 2 minutes to do it. Be like, just fill out your feedback for now, then we'll do our closing, and just give 2 minutes. Then I would have gotten way more today if I had done that myself.
I did mine. So yay.
Thanks. I see that. Thanks. All right, Jed.
I'm going to give you 3.
Okay.
Crazy, all right? So number 1 is that I always keep my phone on lock in the up position. And so my Stream Deck on my phone never matched my computer. And I realized today that if I unlock it and turn it sideways, it looks more right. Crazy,
Great.
right? The little things.
Great pro tip.
Number 2 is I'm going to look at AHA slides, because I don't think that I have looked at that, although I might have that open right now somewhere else to look at. And number 3, specifically with respect to Stream Deck, I'm going to try this concept of adding the program like PowerPoint to my Stream Deck so I can hit PowerPoint. It's like I have it set now to, advanced slides and screen start slideshows, advanced slides and things like that. But I'm going to add the concept of putting PowerPoint on there so that I can hit the PowerPoint, and then that will, quote, make it on top and allow everything else to work, even though I haven't figured out how to do that with the Zoom side yet.
Yeah. Beautiful.
All my notes from today.
Awesome.
Well, you don't want to see what mine look like.
I'd love a picture of that cat if you're up for sharing. I'd love to see him.
Sure.
All right, Vivian, take us home.
Like every time you think you know all the things, I'd love to use AHA slides to get more people to say more things that we get to look at. So that wonder one I'd never seen before.
That was awesome.
So I'm gonna look at that. I think that, and I might have to pick your brain about this at some point, but going back to the talking out loud, I am gonna see if I can make that one particular community engagement workshop work as either a profile or as a folder. So, and I want to do that. Like I have the perfect opportunity to practice to very safe on May 20th. So
cool.
I'm going to get that to work.
Great. Awesome.
Yes.
Well,
what about you? What's a new thing you're going to work on, Meg?
Well, I'm going to figure out why everything stopped working today. But I will say, like, I got lots of things working in a half an hour. So that was exciting. Yeah, I think that I'm still working. I think I have Stream Deck down for Zoom, and I'm really interested to keep playing around with it as like a productivity tool now that I feel like I've got a grasp on it for facilitation purposes. And I'm going to see how, like, setting time, the thing I want to keep playing with is, like, if I had in my links at the end been like, I'm going to send you a link to the feedback form, and in 2 minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to close out. And I had set a timer for that button, like, so that I couldn't fake it and call it before that, and the like next chat just automatically sent. Like, if I use that delay function in the multi-action, that is what I'm curious about. Like, will that change things if I actually stick to my timings rather than like feel them out? How will that change my facilitations? All right, facilitators, that wraps it up here for us at Facilitator Cards. If you're interested in joining our June Brain Jam or any Brain Jams in the future, I will leave links in the description below where you can sign up to learn about June's Brain Jam and all future Brain Jams after that. Happy facilitating.
1 second, I'll show you the other way I did it. Was
this is the after. This is why you got to stick around to the very end, everyone.
Always. I also